The Grateful Dead, rock critics call them one of the dinosaur bands of the 60s, but their fans, known as Deadheads, think they're the greatest. They're playing 2 shows this weekend here in Monterey County, and Steve Perez is here to tell us they've been working on this particular show for quite some time. Lots of practice, huh?
That's right. Well, first they had to book the program, and then there's a lot of preparation that goes into a rock and roll show, but Saturday's show just about sold out. Close to 20,000 tickets so far, and Sunday's show, we've been told, is not far behind. The group has been around for more than 20 years, but as one of their songs goes, they just keep on trucking.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in, keep trucking, like the Doodah Man, together, more or less in line, just keep trucking on.
Since Monday, workers from Bill Graham Productions have been trucking on, hammering away at this massive soundstage. The Grateful Dead is one of the biggest shows Laguna Seca has tried to stage yet. But these guys know what they're doing.
I think what Bill Graham's known for really is putting on quality shows. And we have all our best people here. We consider this an important show, a big show, and we want to show the people of Monterey that we can do a good job, and we hope to be welcome here for years to come.
Now, when you're setting up a massive event like a rock concert, you have to make sure everything goes by schedule, and so far, it has been. But there's one thing they haven't counted on. That's been the heat.
Well, we keep waiting for this famous fog, and it's nothing but heat here. It's really beautiful, and I hope it's not going to be sunny all week and then foggy in the weekend.
And here's what all the fuss is about. They've never had a top 20 hit, but the Grateful Dead remains one of the quintessential rock and roll bands. They may sell out concert dates, but sell out commercially? No.
It's going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal.
You sound excited about it.
I am excited about it. I've seen the Dead several times myself, and they're a fantastic band. Great musicians. The way they kind of digress from the original theme of the song and then get back to it is unlike any other band. There really is nothing in the world like a Grateful Dead concert.
KMBY is really the only rock and roll station hereabouts, so they've taken the lead in promoting the Dead concert, sponsoring a ticket giveaway to spark fans' interest.
And of course, the Grateful Dead is known for playing marathon jam sessions, so all those people who do have tickets are sure to get their money's worth this weekend.
Steve, any other bands playing besides the Dead?
Grammy Award-winning artist Bruce Hornsby and The Range, and also instrumentalist extraordinaire Ry Cooder.
Yuppies and Deadheads, what a combo.
Right.
Tickets left?
Still a few more to grab. The Grateful Dead, they play all over the place. They're playing in China this year, and also they have 7 shows with Bob Dylan. If you can't catch them live, they're available on video cassette as well.
Oh, they're happy you came along.
Sure.
Show us that. Thanks, Steve.
In less than 24 hours, peaceful, quiet, beautiful Laguna Seca will turn into noisy, crowded Laguna Seca, courtesy of the rock band The Grateful Dead and about 20,000 of their closest friends. Today, park officials were gearing up for the big weekend concert, while others were concentrating on having fun.
I was at the Monterey Pop Festival 20 years ago, so, you know, it's a milestone.
We're looking forward to a long weekend of Grateful Dead and Ry Cooder and Bruce Hornsby and The Range.
Full of fun, partying, good music.
Now, if all goes well, this won't be the last venue at the Monterey County facility. Huey Lewis and the News scheduled for later this month, and more acts may follow.
Grateful Dead weekend is upon us, and Laguna Seca is packed with people. Some people so eager to see the group, they tried to outrun the law. Some may have managed. Others weren't as lucky. But that was the only trouble with the law that we saw today. We'll have a full report on the concerts later in the newscast. For a song called Truckin'. Today, thousands of people trucked on over to see the Grateful Dead in concert. Entertainment reporter George Pinocchio reports from Laguna Seca.
They filled the lawns here at Laguna Seca, dancing, singing with the group, and having a mellow time.
It's hard to say how many people are here at the Grateful Dead concert right now at Laguna Seca, but estimates are between 20 and 50,000.
Now there are fans, and there are fans. Some diehards will do just about anything to see a good concert.
I flew in from Boulder, Colorado last night, late. I met this girl in the airport. I slept over her house, and this morning we hitchhiked here.
The Grateful Dead's been together for 22 years now, but there's no generation gap here. Young and old alike are taking in the sounds of this group.
Just the music, the sun, the atmosphere of the people.
What is it about the music that you like so much?
I think it's sort of, you can be carried away with it.
We learned today the group is coming out with its first album in 7 years, and a single's not far behind either. Now, we realize not everyone's a Grateful Dead fan, or Deadhead if you will, but those that are true blue.
Jerry Garcia once said that people who like the Grateful Dead are like people who like licorice. Not everybody likes licorice, but the people who like licorice really like licorice.
The Grateful Dead, with Bruce Hornsby in the range and Ry Cooder, go at it all again tomorrow.
Live Dead. George says the group's also working on a new video, so stay tuned. That'll be the third, I believe. Third Dead video.
What a crowd out there. It's going to be even more packed for when the Pope comes.
Now, that was actually, you know, we kidded about that. The Pope's going to bring a huge crowd, and they had some practice today, the authorities, with this group to get ready for the big summer event, the Pope, as you mentioned, in September.
See.
Local law enforcement authorities bracing for the hordes of fans descending on Laguna Seca's first big rock show since 1984. Tens of thousands of people need to be moved in and out of the park for this weekend's Grateful Dead concert. And as Steve Perez reports, everyone's hoping things will go smoothly.
We have tickets Sunday, too. We're going to be here for a long time.
I was at the Monterey Pop Festival 20 years ago, so, you know, it's a milestone.
We're looking forward to a long weekend of Grateful Dead and Ry Cooder and Bruce Hornsby and arranged.
Full of fun, partying, good music.
Things picking up around the raceway now. A lot of smart folks beating the traffic by camping out and catching both shows. 35,000 people expected between Saturday and Sunday, which is a bit smaller than your average big car race here. But then again, these aren't your average racing fans.
We can handle it, but from past experience, it is slow and tedious getting in and out if everybody leaves at once or arrives at the same time.
In truth, traffic control is just one of a number of challenges that local law enforcement authorities are faced with this weekend at Laguna Seca. But they're looking at it as a learning experience because, after all, the Grateful Dead isn't the only Major League Rock act scheduled to play here.
We're going to have the Huey Lewis concert towards the end of the month, so this will be a training type thing for us, so we'll know more what to expect in the future.
Everybody we've ever talked to said this is probably one of the mellowest crowds, one of the easiest to control crowds there is.
The authorities urging locals to use Fort Ord's south boundary gate by way of the 218 and leave the narrow Highway 68 to the out-of-towners. Also, the CHP warning everyone, don't drink and drive. At Laguna Seca Raceway, Steve Perez, the News 46.
Preparations are already underway at Laguna Seca for the big concert this weekend. The signs of the Grateful Dead are everywhere, from hitchhikers scattered on Highway 1 to Art Deco buses along Highway 68. Our Diana Draper is at the concert grounds. And Diana, what's it like out there?
Margot, there is a non-stop flow of cars, vans, and buses piling into the campground area. And these people are all here tonight to get ready for the big shows this coming weekend. They are here in full force, the Grateful Dead followers, or better known as Deadheads. Since this morning, fans have been lining up to buy tickets and to grab a spot inside the concert area. This man drove 1,200 miles from Seattle to see the show.
I think it's the atmosphere. It's a party with a band in the background. And if you're up close to the show, then it's a band with a party in the background.
Some of the Deadheads are vagabonds. Tomas Smith lives on the road permanently and has been for 18 years. He never misses a concert.
It's sort of hard, you know, you get out of a show, you gotta get in your van, you gotta come down a little bit, get in your van, you know, drive sometimes hundreds of miles, you know, for a show the next night somewhere, you know.
And probably one of the most unusual fans we ran into is a guy that went as far as engraving a custom filling on his tooth.
He took dental material, laid a plate in against my tooth with a skull on it and dyed it. And so far, I've shown it to thousands of people on Grateful Dead lines and got a lot of laughs. It's a one of a kind.
Indeed, one of a kind. Now, more fans will be showing up here until 2 and 3 this morning. And by tomorrow afternoon, this entire campground area will be packed with concert goers.
Diana, you've got some diehard fans there. How many people are expected to attend the concerts?
Well, Margot, so far 32,000 people have actually purchased the tickets, and another 3,000 walk-ups are expected.
Okay, it's going to be quite a crowd. Thanks, Diana.
Looks like everyone's out to have a good time. And another weekend when it's a good idea to stay off Highway 68.
The crowd at Laguna Seca tonight is growing, all getting ready for this weekend's Grateful Dead concert. Since this afternoon, people have been driving their vans and Art Deco buses into the concert site, some fans even hitchhiking there. Our Diana Draper was at Laguna Seca tonight and is now in our newsroom with more. Diana?
Grateful Dead fans call themselves Deadheads, Margot. They're a rare group and a loyal group of people that actually plan their lives, sometimes attending Grateful Dead concerts. And the ones I talk with tonight have been fans ever since the group formed 22 years ago.
Trucking, got my chips cashed in.
People traveling from as far away as Seattle and as close as Santa Cruz filled the concert site. For a lot of them here tonight, attending this weekend's show is a high priority in their life.
They make their living off of seeing the Grateful Dead, a lot of them. You know, the Dead has a large expanded family. We're part of that family, the ones that see them part-time, the ones that see them every time.
But it takes money and time to be a die-hard follower. Francis Jones quit his 9-to-5 job so he could zigzag across the country following the Grateful Dead's concert schedule.
I might go back and work at those jobs if I need some money from here and there, but like now I just do printing as much as I can because I like that. I like to express myself.
Like Jones, 38-year-old Tomas Smith also lives for these concerts and will not change his lifestyle.
My future is the here and now. This is where I live. I live in the here and now, you know. I don't know if there'll be there tomorrow, you know. No one does, you know. And to spend a lot of time planning on tomorrow isn't something I'm into.
His young son already has seen over 100 concerts and will probably see a whole lot more.
But I'm not going to turn him into a banana head by hauling him around to the concerts, you know, right?
Margot, being there was like walking into the past. Symbols from the 60s like peace signs and tie-dye shirts were all there, and they seem to be part of every Grateful Dead concert.
So Diana, what's the mood out there tonight?
The mood is very relaxed. Everyone is really looking forward to the two concerts which are coming up Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, thanks Diana. About 32,000 people are expected at the two concerts over the weekend. Cleanup crews are moving through the hillsides of Laguna Seca tonight, clearing debris left by more than 38,000 people who jam-packed the park for a concert by the Grateful Dead. Now, law enforcement officials were prepared for the worst, but as Paul Johnsich reports, there were very few major problems.
They came in bunches, in loosely knit packs, fans of the Grateful Dead who become almost as legendary as the band itself. Laguna Seca, better known for its races than concerts, seemed like the perfect place. With grassy hillsides overlooking the huge stage, there was plenty of room to stretch out or meet up with old friends. And this is what they came to hear, music from a group that's attracted a cult-like following. Despite fears of drugs and drunkenness among the crowd, business was slow inside the first aid station.
The younger crowds that drink more alcohol get more violent type things. This is all bruises and stubbed toes and sunscreen, and that's about it.
A member of the security staff who's been to more than 200 Grateful Dead concerts likes this crowd because he says it's polite.
But as you can see, this is how the crowd behaves at the Dead shows. They just come for the music, the sun, and the fun.
The sun and fun is nice, but 36-year-old Steve Warden, who doesn't have any legs, makes a considerable effort to be here for the people and the music.
I see people that I meet at all the different concerts. We like the music.
Steve is just one of the many Grateful Dead fans who'd go the extra mile to see their favorite band. This group from Stanford finally arrived in the late afternoon after a long and costly journey.
We really haven't encountered too many problems, just other than the fact that you had to walk a long way to get up to the actual stadium. We took a cab, of course, but it was a long walk.
It's been a long journey for thousands of rock fans who traveled hundreds of miles to be here, but whether they know it or not, their behavior inside will have a lot to do with determining the future of Laguna Seca as a concert site. In Laguna Seca, Paul Johnsich, KSBW Action News.
A dedicated bunch.
If you haven't heard, it's been a Grateful Dead weekend in Monterey. You know if you attended the concerts with the other 60,000 or if you spotted the ornaments that go along the road with the Dead. We visited Laguna Seca today and found a Grateful Dead flea market doing great business.
Want to buy a tie-dye?
Who, me?
Yeah, you!
trucking, got my chips cashed in. Keep trucking, like the dude I made.
One ticket!
Just keep trucking on.
You wish you could package them and take them all over the world. They're very special. I mean, you've got instant city here, but there's a mutual respect that's pretty awesome. I think some sociologists should take note.
Dallas on Machine, Houston, too close to New Orleans, New York, got the way.
Sets your tie-dyes apart from everybody else's. Basically, these tie-dyes don't ever fade, and they're darker than most people's tie-dyes because we use a lot of dye.
Most of the cats that you meet on the street speak of true love. Most of the time they're sitting and crying at home. One of these days,
Hi, Mom. Living the good life. Yeah.
20 years on the road, the Grateful Dead, and still alive and well, it looks like, at Laguna Seca.
They're not tough to pick out in the crowd, that's for sure.
Not the racing crowd, though, is it, over there at Laguna Seca today?
In one respect, I guess it is kind of a racing crowd.
Rather racy.
Yeah.
All right.
Did you go to the big concert over the weekend? Well, all told, 35,000 people rocked and rolled this past weekend at the Grateful Dead concert. There were some doubts in the beginning about whether Laguna Seca and local police could handle the crowd, but Steve Perez is here to tell us that all those doubts have been erased.
Well, in the beginning, people did have their doubts, but like
went
you
pretty
said,
well.
Yeah, it was very nearly a trouble-free event, and that's according to all the people we talked with today. In the space of little more than a week, a virtual city of 35,000 people was built up and then taken down. This was the scene at Laguna Seca on Sunday. Tens of thousands of people of different ages and different eras, but all grooving on the tunes as laid down by Jerry Garcia and company. And this is the way it looked a day later. Well-organized cleanup crews busy picking things up, trying to leave the place cleaner than when they found it. And local law enforcement authorities, after surveying the weekend, saying all in all, maybe the motorcycle crowd could learn a thing or two from the Deadheads.
I spent some time in the crowd, and what was unusual to me is that I didn't get any obscenities hurled at me. I didn't get any objects thrown at my patrol car. Everybody was quite friendly and very, very cooperative.
A handful of arrests were reported. One deputy was kicked in the face by an irate concert-goer who'd been ejected 3 times before. The CHP says there was one accident on Highway 68 in which someone was hurt, and there was one arrest for drunk driving, and also a few drug-related problems. County Parks people pegged the crowd at close to 20,000 for Saturday's show, 16,000 for Sunday's show, for a 2-day total of 35,000.
There weren't any great surprises for us. We had a great weekend. The weather cooperated beautifully. We had sunshiny weather. The crowd was exactly what we were anticipating and what they told us for the crowd, and everything seemed to work real well.
Davis says the county should net at least $50,000 from the weekend's work, and he also says that by tomorrow you shouldn't even be able to tell that a rock show had even been staged there over the weekend in the first place.
Now, Steve, that was a big concert, but we've got a really big concert coming up with Huey Lewis. Have they learned anything that they're going to use for the Lewis concert?
Some fine-tuning. They're going to open up one more entrance into Laguna Seca, and that's about it.
And Joe, a staff member of the Papal Visit Office, found herself in an unlikely spot looking for tips on how to handle a large crowd. Dina Martinez attended the Grateful Dead concert at Laguna Seca this weekend. Martinez saw firsthand how a large crowd manages to assemble in the natural amphitheater created by the hillsides. She says the concert was quite helpful in making some of the behind-the-scenes arrangements for the Papal visit to the park.
I watched their transportation of how they moved the volunteers around and their security around. Other than that, I found it a very good overall learning process, and it was good to be around a crowd of that size.
Laguna Seca is being used for a number of other events, including this past weekend's Grateful Dead concert. And organizers so far say that they are pleased with the way crowd control was handled.
Paul Johnsich is here with more on the event, which was seen as a test of the park's ability to handle a large crowd. Paul?
By all accounts, the Grateful Dead concert and the crowd's behavior and the way the crowd was handled was very good. Estimates on the size of the crowd are shrinking, though, today. Saturday, authorities say there were some 40,000 inside the park. Today, the attendance figure is put at some 19,000. In any event, local officials are learning about the effect a large crowd can have on Laguna Seca and the surrounding area. The hillside overlooking the stage at Laguna Seca appears relatively unscathed, except for a spattering of garbage. People spend most of today cleaning up debris left by the more than 40,000 weekend visitors. To make sure Laguna Seca didn't become a littered wasteland, concert promoters passed out these trash bags to rock fans. Today, some of the people who remain here use them to clean up most of the mess. These three got free concert tickets for passing out the garbage bags. And deadheads, as fans of the group are called, actually save the county some money by rounding up clutter into small piles.
I didn't see any organized cleanup out here except for the deadheads themselves that were, picking up and putting the garbage bags out.
After they were finished cleaning up, many of the concert fans stashed away their few belongings and headed home. Some stragglers found themselves without any form of transportation, stranded at Laguna Seca. You're one of the few remaining. What are your plans?
We got to go back to Colorado. Just another deadhead on the road.
Many tried their hand at hitching a ride. There were scenes like this at many different locations around the Central Coast today. And part of the bottom line for the county was the money. They grossed about $100,000 for the two-day event on parking, camping, and ticket revenue.
Every event you have some minor problems, but we consider overall the problems to be almost nothing.
Now, police report only 3 arrests over the two-day event, and there were very few other problems, they say.